Hi, everybody. Peter Lurie here to take you through the week that was on HRTV. Preakness winning jockey Martin Garcia joined Race Day America to talk about his big win.
Well, sometimes I always feel like I need to get pinched because I wasn't believing that, but it was true.
Well, don't be asking me to pinch you. You're going to have to ask somebody else for that assistance,
No,
Martin.
I already have that, so.
You have it? Okay,
Yeah.
good to know. Coming back here to Southern California, what has the response been? You know, how many people have come up to you, and what has everybody said to you?
Well, a lot of people say that I did good job and congratulations, and then I have just the words to say thank you, and then that's it.
Like Bob said, I think it was post-Preakness, you know, just 5 years ago, you coming from Mexico, you end up in Northern California. As you told this son across the board just a few weeks back or months back, you had never been around racing. Did you have a chance to tell your family about this? And did your family, were they fully aware of what you were setting out to do and riding in the Preakness, and did they get a chance to watch it?
Well, honestly, my family, they don't know what I'm doing. My family just know that I work in horses, but they don't know how important it is, horses here. And then I didn't know until just a while ago. So I just talked to, but I don't, probably they would be like me. If I talk to my family, they just want to say, okay. Because they don't know how important it is. Like example, me, I'm still like, I know I rode a good horse. I won a big race. But just still, like, right now, you still getting that, like, emotion, like, how important it is, that race. But before, I don't know anything. So can be my family the same thing. They wouldn't know what it is, so.
Deli owner Terry hired Martin as a cook and witnessed firsthand that horses were in his future.
He came into the restaurant, came highly recommended from one of his friends looking for a job. And he was quite short and did not speak any English at the time. And because of the high recommendation, I decided, okay, we'll give you a shot. And so we set up milk cartons for him to be tall enough to put food up into the window, and worked on his English. And the moment he found out that I had horses, he was constantly bugging me about wanting to ride my horses, and so I have show horses, and I don't have a lot of people that ride them, and I always told him no, and he was very, very persistent. He's a little jokester. He's always, come on, I'm the best horse rider in Mexico. You need to let me ride your horse. And so he was very cute about it. Kept bugging me, and it wasn't until he was on his way to work one day and he was hit by a car on his bike and hurt his back. And so I went over to his apartment to take him to the doctor, and when they opened the door, there was horse pictures everywhere. So I'm like, wow, you really do like horses. And so after he got better, that's when he kept bugging, very, very persistent about it. And so that's when I finally said, okay, let's go. So we went out to my stable, and I had my mare all saddled up and bridled, and he's like, no, I don't need a saddle. And so I took the saddle off, and he just reached up and grabbed her mane, jumped up on her back, and before my horse or I knew what happened, he was sitting there very comfortable, like he had been there all of his life.
Assistant trainer Jimmy Barnes joined across the board and shared his thoughts on the Preakness.
I saw him going to the gate. I watched him in the post parade. He was handling the post parade quite well. I was a little in the Derby. He really did. It looked like to me like he got warm. He didn't handle the post parade maybe that well. So there were some anxious moments always going to the gate. Thinking on his last 3 races, what's happened to him. But I have a lot of confidence in Martin, and Martin's going to get him out of the gate, put him in a good spot, and he certainly did.
With all the confidence in the world in Martin, of course, going into the race, it was all the talk was about Garrett Gomez just coming off and really trying to change, looking at Lucky's luck, and that's exactly what happened. Do you ever get discouraged thinking, is this luck ever going to change as this keeps happening to him?
Well, I mean, we took a lot of hits from taking Garrett off. People were second guessing us, this and that. But, Garrett had moved east, and he's riding one horse a month for us, and it's looking at Lucky, and he's getting in trouble every time he runs. Where Martin, on the other hand, he's riding pretty much a stable for us and traveling out of town. Went to Oaklawn, Texas, and just winning probably at a 50% clip. It was a no-brainer. It was something that had to be done.
Jimmy, as we're about to hit the far turn here, and what we're looking at now, courtesy of NBC, you see in the green silks, that's Cara Cortado to the inside of you. It looks like at one point, and I think we're about to see it, you both make that move right at the same time. Was there any concern for you at this point?
No. You just had to leave it up to Martin. That's where you want to, he wanted to make his move there. That's fine. I know Paul Atkinson thought we moved a bit soon, made him move early, but Martin made the right decision.
How confident were you going into this race?
Well, as confident as we could be. Lucky's just trained phenomenal. Barring any kind of bad luck, he would be right there.
Barbara Livingston was on hand for the Preakness to capture all the memories like no one else can.
The Preakness Stakes, we always talk about it here, and for those of us that have had the great pleasure to be there for, again, Preakness week, it's such a different feeling than that of the Kentucky Derby, and you're able to be there for all of these legs of the Triple Crown. What is your gauge of the feeling from the pressures of the Kentucky Derby 2 weeks later to the Preakness Stakes?
Isn't that Preakness Stakes fun?
It's so mellow.
I mean, first they make it really easy for us. Mike Gaffigan does a great job, the media person there. But then it's so easy for us to there's one path that goes from the one big stakes barn right to the racetrack and back. And there's food there for people if they want to get a soda or if they want to get a donut. So there are bathrooms right there. It makes it a lot easier in most ways. I mean, in other ways, you suddenly have the Derby winner who has suddenly become, more protected than the Brinks truck. And you got to be careful because you got to suddenly stay back from a horse that the week before they probably wouldn't have cared if you pet him. So that changes that photographically. Jimmy Barnes, for instance, tried to walk past Super Saver on his way to the track, and they stopped him and made him go around. And that's a little, obviously more difficult for us photographically, but it's worth the trade-off because there's the excitement of what could be. So I love photographing at the Preakness. I love the attitude of the people there. And the whole different feel from Derby, where you have 20 or 22 or 23 horses you're following early on with no idea of what might sort itself out.
With the Preakness behind us and the Belmont coming up, HRTV looked back at the Belmont history.
Between horses, AP Indy with a hand in front. Pine Bluff battling back. My man was on the outside. AP Indy wins it 3/4 of a length.
Here is a powerful, compelling performance by Point Given. He is under the line to win the Belmont by 11 lengths at the finish. Sensational effort here. A compelling, outstanding performance by the plucky of Fleet Alex. He won by 6 or 7 lengths. These two in a battle of the sexes in the Belmont Stakes. It is curling on the inside. Rags to Riches on the outside. A desperate finish, and it's going to be a filly in the Belmont. Rags to Riches has beaten Curlin in 100 years of Belmont history. The first filly to win it in over a century.
Millie gave us a preview at some of the Belmont probables with this week's Belmont 411.
We've had fillies win the Belmont Stake, but not a female trainer, and Alexis Barber in our 411 relives her Kentucky Derby experience with Make Music for Me, who will now go on to the Belmont Stakes, and we assess the dude power.
I'm not sure I've even landed yet. You know, how I wish everybody in the world could experience that. And I have to say that walkover might be the greatest part of the whole thing. Slopping through the mud, everybody took their shoes off. Nobody cared. We'll clean it. We'll buy new shoes. We'll do whatever. We're not going to miss this. He came out terrific. I'm very pleased with it. I think he even put on a couple pounds.
He's a lovely mover. He gallops out very strongly on his breezes. We hope that he wants the 1.5 miles. He's a very athletic colt with a great mind. You know, Jazzle was smaller than Uptown Charlie Brown's quite a big horse, but mentally they were a little bit alike.
I thought he ran a big race. I mean, he put up some big numbers early in the race and looked like he could have been finished turning for home, and he dug back in. He fought all the way to the wire, and he galloped out really strong. I mean, he didn't seem like it took anything out of him first day back on the track. But he's going to go to Belmont tomorrow afternoon. Can probably just get one work in him on Saturday, a week from Saturday.
Game I Do worked very well. He actually went 3/4, galloped out 7/8. I want to see how he can handle it. And I'm going to ship him to Belmont, and I'll probably breeze him there one time. You know, train for the Belmont, that 1.5 miles. It's a tricky distance, you know, but it's sort of for steady horses, and I think he fits the pattern the way he moves.
Nick Zito's Belmont duo will stay true to their running style as they point towards the Belmont.
Nick, I got to ask you about Icebox's style of running. He looks on paper to be a kind of a deep closer, kind of a one-run horse. Now, you've won Belmonts, and you know, in fact, you won one gate to wire. So is this style conducive to success, Icebox? Can he lay fairly close up, or he's pretty much going to just sit back there and then not launch that one great kick of his?
Well, you know, Jeff, honestly, I hate to take a horse out of his game. I mean, the last races that he's had, the Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby, have been tremendous. But I actually think he can lay a little closer. I'm not going to tell Jose to do that unless he wants to do it himself. In other words, if the horse wants to be kind of close on his own, that's a different story. But I don't want to tell Jose to do anything to take him out of his game. I'll take my chances with Icebox that way. I understand what you're saying, and sometimes, you know, that could be a disadvantage, especially if they're going slow up front. But the way he's running, the way he's performing, I have to leave him in that style.
The way Fly Down won the Dwyer, Nick, does he strike you as a colt that will relish the demanded 12 furlongs, the grueling 1.5 miles of the Belmont Stakes?
Well, you know, Lafitte, the way he won the Dwyer, I mean, he caught everyone's attention because obviously he really had that last closing kick, and he was just, you know, drawing away at the end. So the 1.5 miles shouldn't be any problem. Again, you know, he's another horse that likes to lay off the pace, but that's the way it goes. I mean, I got two horses that like to lay off the pace, and there's nothing I can do. I mean, you know, that's just racing. I just hope there's some kind of speed, and we'll see what happens. But I certainly don't want to take neither horse out of their game or out of their style of running, because I just don't think you know. I've been in the game too long, Lafitte, and I don't see it working.
John Englehart discussed Tony Leonard's photos and legacy during his time of need.
We've seen these pictures so many times, and we've seen the famous signature so many times along with it. And obviously, we're here. You're here speaking on Tony's behalf and trying to improve his position. Is there anything that viewers can do out there to help in any way?
Yeah, there is. First of all, half the country's on Facebook. Go to Support Tony Leonard and the Protection of His Legacy. Our track photographer, Pat Lang's daughter, Emily, started this thing, and along with myself and Clips Award-winning photographer Matt Goings, and we, in a week, had over 1,000 people that wanted to be friends with Tony. So if you go to that, we're giving updates, and we still got a way to go with his house. We were looking for donations and supplies. I mean, you can't imagine. He lived on 2 acres. There was a lot to be done, and we're not finished. So then as we move forward, hopefully with the cataloging of his collection, we hope at some point there'll be a way of which you'll be able to repurchase some of these unbelievably fantastic and historic photos that Tony's created over the years.
This week on The Edge, Aaron, John, and Joanne gave out 5 of 6 winners in the Pick 6.
My top pick here is Bridal Vision. And what I like here is the way she ran last time sprinting. She's stretching out today, although she's stretching out only to 1 mile.
It is Freddie Longclue and Bridal Vision who go for home. They're clear by 2.5 lengths. Rolling JJ in second. Granduli tries to close back in third. A 16 from the wire. Bridal Vision is out in front. It's going to be a double for Freddie Longclue. Bridal Vision in front.
Yamarada draws the inside. Sal Gonzalez Jr. is in the saddle. Note the last time she was at this level. She won going away. She likes to win races. She's got 2 wins already this year. Look at the rest of the field and tell me who else can say that. A 4-year-old filly by Hooley. I think with the blinkers on, will be involved a little more early on in this race. I'm not keen on the post, but I'm keen on the price, and I think you're going to get 5-6 to 1 when they leave the starting gate, and she's worth it.
Racing inside the final furlong now. It's Geneva who is out in front, giving chase. Here's Classic Emily from out of the clouds. La Mirada is also closing deep. Geneva is looking for the line. She needs it desperately badly now, and it's La Mirada who mugs her on the wire.
Her workouts at Keeneland since her last race are off the charts. 47 flat, 46 flat. She's got a trainer, Chuck Peary, who is a guy that I knew back in the days when he was learning the ropes under Tom Roberts, one of the most accomplished trainers in the Pacific Northwest. And this daughter of Lawada Zanamo, I think, can beat this bunch.
Racing down towards the final furlong. Mahinda's out in front. Miss Diane in second. Happy Week to the outside is in third. Spiteful Lady is next. Dashing Debbie still last. The 16 from the wire. Mahindar is out in front and holding on as they race up towards the line. Mahindar is the winner by a half length.
Free Fighter is my top horse in here. I don't think the distance will be any problem. They've won at 1.5 miles. They've got a very versatile style. In a race that's absolutely paceless, they can go 48. They could actually go to the lead, but that doesn't seem to be the preferred style.
It's Free Fighter and Francisco Torres who go for home. They split the field. They've gone clear by 2.5 lengths. Brass Hat is giving game chase. On the outside is Bear Path. Free Fighter is out in front by 2 lengths and on the run to the line. Free Fighter wins the Louisville Handicap. A second win in the race for jockey Cisco Torres.
Underneath, outside, Kaylin's Grand Girls. I guess maybe the 1 in the 5 underneath if you want to use those 2.
Here is Outside, who is staying on to the grandstand side. It is Outside in time. A 3-bagger again for Freddie Longclue. Outside wins and breaks the heart of Emily D.
Trainer Chris Block shared his thoughts on his Louisville Handicap win with Free Fighter.
The instructions were to Cisco that you move when you feel like you want to move, but wait as long as you possibly can. And when you see him take a hold there, as I believe is around the half-mile pole, and kind of moving to the outside, at that point I said to myself, I thought he must have a lot of horse, and he wants to get out of any traffic. So and then when he moved up on the outside of Telling, then I felt real comfortable that he knew what he was doing, and he knew that he had plenty of horse for that last quarter of a mile.
Well, with Prized on the dam side, I can see why you like that distance. Chris, this is a horse owned in partnership with Team Block, something a little bit unusual. Typically, we see Team Block specifically. Tell us about the ownership and where you plan on sending this horse next.
Well, the ownership is this horse is bred by us, and Tom Fedro is a longtime friend of the family's, and he's been involved with other horses, and he wanted to invest in a young one when this horse was 2, and we gave him a list of horses to pick from, and this is one that he picked. So Tom's always been a part of the stable. I've trained for him for quite some time, and we're happy to have him on board. As far as where this guy goes next, I'm not sure. Wherever we can find something that it fits him. I mean, one of the long-term goals here at Arlington, of course, would be the Stars and Stripes. I believe it's on Arlington Million Weekend this year. And where we go before that, I'm not quite sure, but hopefully somewhere. I'd like to stay as close to home as possible, but if we need to go east, then we will. But it certainly, yesterday was a true test for this horse. We wanted to see if, in fact, that's where we need to be headed over his career going forward, and I think we found that out yesterday.
On Against the Odds, Aaron picks a winner in the Sheep's Head Bay.
I have one horse on top of Bubbly Jane, and that is Treat Gently, who is 7 for 12 lifetime in the exacta, which means she pretty much always shows up, and she does have a win at Belmont on turf. She's got a lot of back class, an awful loss. It's interesting to me that Kent DeSormo tells Belmont, you know what, I want this one back. A 5-year-old mare looking to get back on the beam. I think could use that last start as a springboard to good things here, and I think you're going to get a great price. Treat Gently in the Sheep's Head Bay should be 5-6 to 1 when they leave the starting
She
gate.
might even be better than that.
Treat Gently off the turn with the lead. Pari has now given way. Bubbly Jane is there and produced on the far outside. Then down toward the inside is the Galem Girl, and in between horses, Nahantic Cat, but it is Treat Gently in full stride for the wire. Treat Gently, a decisive score here today.
Chip Woolley discussed his feelings on the big loss in his stable.
Like I said before, you know, you become very personally bonded with the horse, and you know, it's just like losing a member of your family when you look up one day and they're not going to be coming back to you. You know, trainers feel that emotion all the time. When a horse, even a stud, leaves to go to the stud barn, but at least there, you know, you're going to see them again, and you're going to watch their offspring come back, you know, but this horse is gilding, and so when he leaves, he's gone, you know, and that's, you know, it's not something you look forward to.
What are some of the positives that have come out of this relationship that you've had with the horse moving forward? Do you think that your name recognition will help you in getting more horses?
Well, you know, you hope so, but it's hard to say. You know, we haven't really picked up a lot of horses to this point, so it's kind of hard to say, but we'll go on. And, you know, it's like anything else. It's kind of like a prize fight. You get knocked down, you get back up, and you keep fighting. And you know, I've been in this game a long, long time, you know, so I've got a lot of years left, and we'll find another one.
Goldakova began her 5-year-old campaign with a half-length victory in a Group 1 at Longchamp.
Goldakova was back in action this morning at Longchamp, and the fear was that she would duplicate her first performance of last year, this year, in the Prix de l'Ispahan. And as it turns out, Goldakova was on her game, and she came back a winner, Scott.
The biggest worry was the distance at 1 1/8. We know she's a mile specialist, but that extra 1/8 of a mile was a concern. Well, it turns out it was of no concern as she wins by a length for Freddie Head and Olivier Pellier and the Wertheimers. And Goldakova, now at the age of 5, back on track to show up here in North America, this time at Churchill Downs, to make it perhaps 3 in a row in the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile. So a good sign for Goldakova fans. She's back and back to the winner's circle here at the age of 5.
Freddie Head, her conditioner, said her next race, quote, will be the Queen Anne, and then the same as last year. I think she's better than last year when she just hated the heavy ground, and that was via the Racing Post this morning.
The American 1000 Guineas at Arlington was watched from bay to bay.
With a furlong to go, here comes Bay to Bay, and she's quickening now. Bay to Bay is hunting down. Go Ascalix. Queen of the Creek is third. Then Shanti Naylor and Orchestrata. It's Bay to Bay and Robbie Alvarado. Bay to Bay going away.
The Japanese Oak saw the first Group 1 dead heat in Japanese racing history.
Apapane late on the scene, Animate Bio. Apapane strikes the lead at the 200 metres. Saint Emilion battling away with it. Apapane the favourite. Saint Emilion's kicking. Apapane in front. Saint Emilion's coming. Saint Emilion, Apapane.
That's all for this week on HRTV. Here's a look at what's coming up next week.
So for me, it's Thunder Chicken.
But I thought it was we need that on Rewind. Right there. That right there. I have never seen John
initially.
See,
with the Leparoo factor, I thought was really interesting.
See, interesting, exactly.
Let's do the singles. Thunder Chicken. A single for you, John?
No. Well, let's not get carried away.